Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that ES broke below the recent 3-day balance for a test of the 63.5 to 66.5 support zone, which resulted in a pretty decent bounce on first test in the overnight session and is going to be active support even heading into the open. So heading into the open, we know that we're in this context where the market is already broken down below a 3-day balance, but the larger time frame is still bullish, and because of that, we can get this back and forth price action where responsive buyers are still active on first test of support, and then when we bounce back up, sell side can be active on first test of a resistance area. So right now, heading into the open, we know that if the market continues to hold below 72.75 to 74.75 and 78 to 80 half, that the sellers could be more dominant on the smaller time frames. But at the same time, as the market goes lower into the 62.75 to 65.75 area, that's still an area where responsive buyers can step in. Now, the zone has already been tested in the overnight session, and it has already provided a very nice reaction in the overnight session, so we do have to be a little bit more careful because it's no longer first test, but it remains a valid area of support until broken, and in the event of a move below initial support, buyers can still be active on first test of the 58 quarter to 60 quarter and 53 half to 55 half. So off the open, we need to see whether we have sustained weakness in the market. We know it's opening on a weak note, but it's already made a pretty decent downside move. So now we need to see whether there is enough sustained downside momentum to support the idea of downside continuation. So if the market opens and we're not really getting a lot of downside momentum, or the downside momentum is not really resulting in any follow through in downward price action, then we can still get a bounce back up towards the 78 to 80 half initial resistance zone. That is really going to be the primary hurdle on the day time frame, and if the market can break above 78 to 80 half, then that would be a confirmation of a failed breakdown attempt, and from there the market can fill the gap and perhaps even go higher, but that's yet to be seen, and we'll have to deal with that in real time. Right now, the immediate concern is whether there is going to be sufficient weakness in order to break below 62.75 to 65.75. And if we're not getting that sustained downside momentum and continued weakness, which means the AD should be trending lower if it's going to actually break the initial support zone. So if you're not seeing that kind of environment, then buyers can still defend 62.75 to 65.75, and we can still get a bounce back up towards 72.75 to 74.75 and 78 to 80 half. So that is going to be the challenge at these lower prices, is that the aggressive shorts are still going to be risky unless we're seeing some very clear-cut signs of sustained downside momentum in real time. If we're not getting that, then the market can simply balance from here on out. Similar situation can happen off of one of the support zones below, but the main area that is really going to help us determine the bias on the day is going to be this initial support at 62.75 to 65.75. This is the zone where if it can hold, then the market can simply balance in a range. And if it breaks, then it would be a confirmation of the short-term weakness that we've seen overnight, and then perhaps we can go down even to the 53 half to 55 half area before we get a decent enough response. So that's the environment heading into the open. Short term, it's a break below balance. Larger time frame is still bullish, and when you have this conflict between the short term and the long term, that's where you typically get two-sided price action and a relatively balanced session. So that's going to be the view going into it. Let's see if we get that sustained downside momentum and continued weakness off the open. And we also have some econ reports out at 9 a.m. Central Time, so just be aware of those, and we'll take it from there.